Fast Food Nation Chapter 2, Your Trusted Friends. I figured I was going to read this to myself, so might as well record it. I apologize in advance for any grammatical mistakes or going back. Before entering the Ray A. Kroc Museum, you have to walk through Mick's store. Both sit on the ground floor of McDonald's corporate headquarters, located at 1 McDonald's Plaza in Oak Brook, Illinois. The headquarters building has oval windows and a gray concrete facade, a look that must have seemed space-age when the building opened 3 decades ago. Now it seems stolid and drab, an architectural relic of the Nixon era. It resembles the American embassy compounds that always used to attract anti-war protesters, student demonstrators, flag burners. The 80-acre campus of Hamburger University McDonald's Managerial Training Center is a short drive from headquarters. Shuttle buses constantly go back and forth between the campus and McDonald's Plaza, ferrying clean-cut young men and women in khakis who've come to study their degree in Hamburgology. The course lasts 2 weeks and trains a few thousand managers, executives, the franchisees each year. Students from out of town stay at the Hyatt on the McDonald's campus. Most of the classes are devoted to personal issues, teaching lessons in teamwork and employing motivation, promoting a common McDonald's language and a common McDonald's culture. 3 flagpoles stand in front of McDonald's Plaza, the heart of the hamburger empire. One flies the Stars and Stripes, another flies the Illinois state flag, and the third flies a bright red flag with golden arches. You can buy beanbag McBurglar dolls at Mick's store. Telephones shaped like French fries, ties, clocks, keychains, golf bags, and duffel bags, jewelry, baby clothes, lunchboxes, mouse pads, leather jackets, postcards, toy trucks, and much more, all of it bearing the stamp of McDonald's. You can buy t-shirts decorated with the new version of the American flag. The 50 white stars have been replaced by a pair of golden arches. At the back of Mick's store, past the footsteps of Ronald McDonald, stenciled on the floor, past the shelves of dishes and glassware, a bronze bust of Ray Kroc marks the entrance to his museum. Kroc was the founder of McDonald's Corporation, and his philosophy of QSC and V, quality, service, cleanliness, and value, still guide it. The man, immortalized in bronze, is balding and middle-aged, with smooth cheeks and an intense look in his eyes. A glass display case nearby holds plaques, awards, and letters of praise. One of the highlights of my 61st birthday celebration, President Nixon wrote in 1974, was when Tricia suggested we needed a break on our drive to Palm Springs, and we turned in at McDonald's. I had heard for years from our girls that the Big Mac was really something special, and while I've often credited Miss Nixon with making the best hamburgers in the world, we're both convinced that McDonald's runs a second close. The next time the cook has a night off, we will know where to go for fast food service. Cheerful hospitality and probably one of the best food buys in America. Another glass case contains articles of Kroc's life, mementos of his long years of struggle and his twilight as a billionaire. The museum is small and dimly lit, displaying each object with reverence. The day I visited, the place was empty and still. It didn't feel like a traditional museum where objects are coolly numbered, cataloged, and described. It felt more like a shrine. Many of the exhibits at Ray A. Kroc Museum incorporate neat technological tricks. Dioramas appear and then disappear when certain buttons are pushed. The voice of Kroc's friends and coworkers, one of them identified as McDonald's vice president of individuality, boom from speakers at the appropriate cue. Darkened glass cases are suddenly illuminated from within, revealing their contents. An artwork on the wall, when viewed from the left, displays an image of Ray Kroc. Viewed from the right, it shows letters Q, S, C, and V. The museum does not have a life-size auto-animatronic version of the McDonald's founder telling jokes and anecdotes, but one wouldn't be out of place. An interactive exhibit called Talk to Ray shows video clips of Kroc appearing on the Phil Donahue Show, being interviewed by Tom Snyder, and chanting with Reverend Robert Schulner at the altar of Orange County's Crystal Cathedral. Talk to Ray permits the viewer to ask Kroc as many as 36 predetermined questions about various subjects. Old videos of Kroc supply the answers. The exhibit wasn't working properly the day of my visit. Ray wouldn't take my questions, so I just listened to him repeat the same speeches. The Disney-esque tone of the museum reflects, among other things, many of the similarities between McDonald's Corporation and the Walt Disney Company. It also reflects the similar past of the two men who founded these corporate giants. Ray Kroc and Walt Disney were both from Illinois. They were born a year apart. Disney in 1901, Kroc in 1902. They knew each other as young men, serving together in the same World War I ambulance corps. They both fled the Midwest and settled in Southern California, where they played central roles in the creation of the new American industries. The film critic Richard Schnickel has described Disney's powerful inner need to order, control, and keep clean any environment he inhabited. The same could easily be said about Ray Kroc, whose obsession with cleanliness and control became one of the hallmarks of his restaurant chain. Kroc cleaned the holes in his mop wringer with a toothbrush. Kroc and Disney both dropped out of high school and later added the trappings of formal education to their companies. The training school for Disney's theme park employees was named Disneyland University. More importantly, the two men shared the same vision of America, the same optimistic faith in technology, the same conservative political views. They were charismatic figures who provided an overall corporate vision and grasped the public mood, relying on others to handle the creative and financial details. Walt Disney neither wrote nor directed nor drew the animated classics that bore his name. Ray Kroc's attempts to add new dishes to McDonald's menu, such as Clocky and Bohemian pastry and the Hula Burger, a sandwich featuring grilled pineapple and cheese, were unsuccessful. Both men, however, knew how to find and motivate the right talent. While Disney was even more famous and achieved success sooner, Kroc may have been more influential. His company inspired more imitators, wielding more power over the American economy, and spawned a mascot even more famous than Mickey Mouse himself. Despite their success as businessmen and entrepreneurs, as cultural figures and advocates for a particular brand of Americanism, perhaps the most significant achievement of these two men lay elsewhere. Walt Disney and Ray Kroc were masterful salesmen. They perfected the art of selling things to children, and their success led many others to aim marketing efforts at kids, turning America's youngest consumers into a demographic group that is now avidly studied, analyzed, and targeted by the world's largest corporations. I'm going to stop here, and we'll resume with Walt and Ray in the next video.